The classic TV series MASH, 1972 to 1983, left an unforgettable mark on audiences with its unique blend of comedy and the harsh realities of war. Iconic characters like Hawkeye, Hot Lips, Radar, and Klinger became cultural touchstones forever tied to the golden age of television. More than 50 years later, the cast's journey tells a story of its own. Some continued to shine in Hollywood, while others have sadly passed away, leaving behind cherished memories. Let's take a look back at the MASH cast then and now and see how the stars of this legendary show have changed over time. Alan Alda portrayed Captain Benjamin Franklin Hawkeye Pierce in MASH, 1972, when he was 36 years old. Hawkeye is the witty, compassionate, and rebellious chief surgeon of the 4077, the Mobile Army Surgical Hospital. Known for his sharp humor, irreverent attitude toward authority, and deep commitment to saving lives, Hawkeye embodies the moral center of the series. His disdain for war contrasts with his dedication to medicine, making him both a comedic and tragic figure. Alan Alda's portrayal defined the character as a cultural icon, blending satire with humanity. Beyond MASH, Alda built a distinguished career as an actor, director, and writer, earning 6 Emmy Awards and an Academy Award nomination for The Aviator, 2004. He also became a passionate advocate for science communication, founding the Alan Alda Center for Communicating Science. Born January 28, 1936, Alda remains celebrated for his versatility and intellectual contributions. As of 2025, he is 89 years old. Jamie Farr portrayed Corporal Maxwell Q. Klinger in MASH, 1972, when he was 38 years old. Klinger is the lovable, eccentric company clerk, originally known for wearing elaborate dresses in a comical attempt to secure a Section 8 discharge from the Army. Though played for laughs, Klinger developed into a warm-hearted and reliable member of the unit, ultimately taking over Radar's duties with surprising competence. His character symbolized resilience, humor, and loyalty amid the chaos of war. Farr's performance gave Klinger depth beyond his comedic antics, making him one of the show's most enduring figures. Outside of MASH, Jamie Farr appeared in films like the Cannonball Run series and numerous TV shows, often playing humorous, offbeat characters. Born July 1, 1934 in Toledo, Ohio, he became a beloved figure in his hometown, where a park was named in his honor. As of 2025, Jamie Farr is 91 years old and fondly remembered as one of the last surviving main cast members of MASH. Loretta Swit portrayed Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan in MASH, 1972, when she was 35 years old. Initially depicted as a strict and by-the-book head nurse, Margaret evolves into a layered character, balancing toughness with vulnerability. Known for her fiery temper and commanding presence, she was also deeply dedicated to her patients and her profession. Over time, the show explored her struggle for independence and respect as a woman in a male-dominated military environment, making her one of the most complex figures in the series. Sweet's performance earned her 2 Emmy Awards, and she became a trailblazer for strong female roles on television. Outside of MASH, she appeared in numerous TV movies and stage productions, and was also an animal rights activist. Born November 4, 1937, she lived a full life in and out of the spotlight. Loretta Swit passed away on May 30, 2025, at the age of 87 due to complications from heart disease. Harry Morgan portrayed Colonel Sherman T. Potter in MASH, 1974, when he was 59 years old. Colonel Potter is the seasoned, tough, yet deeply kind commanding officer who replaced Colonel Blake and brought a sense of stability to the 4077th Farr. With decades of military service behind him, he embodied discipline but also treated his staff like family, offering both stern guidance and fatherly compassion. Potter's wisdom, dry humor, and genuine care made him one of the most beloved figures on the show, striking a perfect balance between authority and warmth. Morgan's performance elevated the character, showing him as a man hardened by war but still capable of tenderness. Before MASH, Morgan had a remarkable career in film and television, starring in Dragnet, High Noon 1952, The Oxbow Incident 1943, and Western comedies like Support Your Local Sheriff 1969. His versatility allowed him to seamlessly move between drama and comedy, making him one of Hollywood's most reliable character actors. Born April 10, 1915, in Detroit, Michigan, he enjoyed more than 6 decades in the industry. Harry Morgan passed away on December 7, 2011, at the age of 96 due to pneumonia. William Christopher portrayed Father Francis Mulcahy in MASH 1972 when he was 40 years old. Father Mulcahy is the gentle, soft-spoken, and selfless chaplain of the 4077th E8th. Though he often appeared timid, he carried great moral strength, offering comfort, prayers, and counsel to both the wounded and the weary. His compassion and unwavering faith made him a source of light amid the darkness of war. Known for his quirky sense of humor and occasional clumsy moments, he was loved by both staff and viewers for his humanity. Christopher's performance gave depth to a character that could have been one-dimensional, portraying him as both comic relief and spiritual backbone of the unit. Outside of MASH, Christopher appeared in That Girl, Gomer Pyle, USMC, and guest starred in many television shows during the 1960s and 1970s. He also dedicated much of his personal life to raising awareness about autism, inspired by his own family. Born October 20, 1932 in Evanston, Illinois, he enjoyed a respected career in Hollywood. William Christopher passed away on December 31, 2016, at the age of 84 from small cell carcinoma. Mike Farrell portrayed Captain B.J. Honeycutt in MASH 1975 when he was 36 years old. Introduced as the replacement for Trapper John, B.J. quickly won audiences over with his warmth, intelligence, and deep sense of loyalty. Unlike Hawkeye, he was more grounded, devoted to his wife and daughter back home, yet still shared Hawkeye's sharp wit and moral opposition to the war. BJ often acted as Hawkeye's conscience, balancing humor with compassion, and his friendship with Pierce became one of the emotional cores of the later seasons. Farrell's nuanced performance brought a refreshing depth to the series, portraying BJ as a man torn between duty and family. Outside of MASH, Farrell starred in Providence, 1999 to 2002, and appeared in numerous TV dramas. He also became widely respected as an activist, championing human rights, environmental issues, and opposition to the death penalty. Born February 6, 1939 in Minnesota, Mike Farrell has lived a life of both artistic and social impact. As of 2025, he is 86 years old. Gary Burghoff portrayed Corporal Walter Radar O'Reilly in MASH 1972 when he was 29 years old. Radar is the young, innocent company clerk, gifted with an uncanny ability to sense orders before they are spoken, and to navigate the bureaucracy of the Army with remarkable efficiency. Despite his shy demeanor and boyish personality, he was the glue of the unit, beloved for his kindness, loyalty, and fondness for animals, particularly his pet guinea pig. His departure in the later seasons was one of the show's most emotional moments, symbolizing the painful loss of innocence against the backdrop of war. Burghoff was the only actor to reprise his role from the original MASH film, giving Radar a unique continuity between versions. Beyond the show, he worked in stage productions, appeared in game shows, and became known for his work as an inventor and wildlife painter, often combining his love of art with environmental awareness. Born May 24, 1943 in Connecticut, he largely stepped away from Hollywood in later life to focus on family and painting. As of 2025, Gary Burghoff is 82 years old and remembered as one of television's most iconic characters. David Ogden Stiers portrayed Major Charles Emerson Winchester III in MASH 1977 when he was 35 years old. Winchester was the brilliant but pompous Boston surgeon whose aristocratic manner and refined tastes clashed with the irreverence of Hawkeye and BJ. Unlike Frank Burns, whom he replaced, Winchester was not incompetent but rather highly skilled, giving him both credibility and depth. His arrogance often masked vulnerability, and over the years he revealed surprising compassion, especially toward patients and those less fortunate. Stiers brought nuance and sophistication to the role, creating a character both comedic and complex. Beyond MASH, Stiers enjoyed a distinguished career with the Oregon Shakespeare Festival and became widely known as a voice actor for Disney, lending his voice to Beauty and the Beast, 1991, Pocahontas, 1995, and Lilo and Stitch, 2002. Born October 31, 1942 in Illinois, he worked steadily in film, TV, and theater for decades. David Ogden Stiers passed away on March 3, 2018 at the age of 75 from bladder cancer. Kelly Nakahara portrayed Lieutenant Kelly Yamato, RN, in MASH, 1973, when she was 25 years old. Kelly began as a recurring nurse, but over time she grew into one of the series' most endearing supporting characters. Warm, approachable, and quietly strong, she represented the dedicated nurses who provided critical care under the harshest conditions. In later episodes, her character was given more focus, allowing Nakahara to shine with moments of humor and heart, particularly when standing up to Hawkeye about being noticed for more than just her looks. Off-screen, Nakahara was beloved by fans for bringing authenticity and diversity to the show. After MASH, she appeared in films like Clue 1985 and Black Day Blue Night 1995, but her greatest passion was painting, and she became an accomplished watercolor artist. Born January 16, 1948 in Hawaii, she lived a creative and fulfilling life. Kelly Nakahara passed away on February 16, 2020, at the age of 72 due to cancer. Jeff Maxwell portrayed Private Igor Straminsky in MASH, 1973, beginning when he was 28 years old. Igor was the perpetually grumbling mess hall cook, a recurring figure who added comic relief to the background of the 4077th. Though not a central character, he appeared in nearly 80 episodes, often muttering sarcastic complaints about the army food, or delivering one-liners that gave depth and realism to camp life. Igor represented the ordinary enlisted man, stuck in a thankless job but still part of the unit's spirit. Maxwell's portrayal made Igor a fan favorite among supporting characters. Beyond the show, Jeff Maxwell worked in television, appearing in Room 222 and The Bob Newhart Show, and also pursued comedy. Later in life, he co-created and co-hosted the MASH Matters podcast, where he shared behind-the-scenes stories and interviews with cast and crew, keeping the show alive for new generations. Born April 19, 1945 in the United States, he has remained relatively private outside of his MASH legacy. As of 2025, Jeff Maxwell is 80 years old. Larry Linville portrayed Major Frank Burns in MASH, 1972, when he was 33 years old. Frank Burns was the pompous, uptight, and hypocritical surgeon whose constant clashes with Hawkeye and Trapper made him the show's early antagonist. Rigid in his devotion to Army rules, yet incompetent in the operating room, Frank was often played for laughs, but also symbolized the darker absurdities of blind obedience in wartime. His secret affair with Margaret Houlihan and jealous outbursts created much of the drama in the early seasons. Linville, despite disliking Frank's one-dimensional cruelty, portrayed him brilliantly, giving the show a necessary villain. After leaving in 1977, he worked steadily in television, appearing in Murder, She Wrote, Fantasy Island, The Love Boat, and films like Earth Girls Are Easy, 1988. Born September 29, 1939, in Ojai, California, Linville trained at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art before building his Hollywood career. Larry Linville passed away on April 10, 2000, at the age of 60, from complications of pneumonia after surgery for cancer. McLean Stevenson portrayed Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake in MASH, 1972, when he was 45 years old. Blake was the well-meaning but often overwhelmed commanding officer of the 4077th. Unlike the typical stern army leader, he was portrayed as warm, approachable, and sometimes scatterbrained, preferring fishing and paperwork avoidance over strict discipline. His laid-back personality created a light-hearted counterbalance to the chaos of war, while his compassionate side made him beloved by both his staff and audiences. One of television's most shocking moments came with his departure. The announcement that Henry's plane was shot down over the Sea of Japan, a heartbreaking twist that left viewers stunned. Stevenson's portrayal gave Henry a unique humanity that helped define the early years of the show. Outside of MASH, he pursued his own sitcom, Hello, Larry, and made guest appearances on shows like The Golden Girls and The Love Boat. Born November 14, 1927 in Normal, Illinois, he transitioned from comedy writing into acting. McLean Stevenson passed away from a heart attack on February 15, 1996 at the age of 68. Wayne Rogers portrayed Captain Trapper John McIntyre in MASH, 1972, when he was 39 years old. Trapper was Hawkeye's original partner and best friend, known for his sharp wit, surgical skill, and love of practical jokes. Together, the two doctors formed the heart of the show's early seasons, constantly rebelling against authority figures like Frank Burns and Margaret Houlihan. Rogers brought charm and energy to the role, making Trapper a beloved character, despite his eventual departure after 3 seasons. After leaving MASH, Rogers starred in House Calls, 1979 to 1982, and later pivoted into business, building a successful career as an investor and financial advisor. He became a frequent commentator on networks like Fox News, where he discussed economics and finance. Born April 7, 1933 in Birmingham, Alabama, Rogers combined his Hollywood career with a savvy business mind, admired both as an entertainer and entrepreneur. Wayne Rogers passed away on December 31, 2015, at the age of 82, due to complications from pneumonia. Sal Viscuso provided the voice of the PA announcer in MASH, beginning in 1976 when he was 28 years old. Like Todd Sussman before him, Viscuso was never seen on screen but became an integral part of the series through his distinctive vocal presence. His announcements ranged from mundane updates about camp life to comically dry remarks that underscored the absurdity of war. These voiceovers gave texture to the world of the 4077th and reminded audiences that life in the camp was constantly in motion beyond the main characters. Outside of MASH, Viscuso built a solid career in television, with recurring roles in soap operas, such as Soap, All My Children, and One Life to Live. He also appeared on hit shows like The Love Boat, Knight Rider, and Murder, She Wrote. Born October 5, 1948 in Brooklyn, New York, he balanced drama and comedy throughout his career. As of 2025, Sal Viscuso is 76 years old and remembered warmly by fans for his unseen but unforgettable role. Roy Goldman portrayed Roy, a recurring orderly in MASH, 1973, when he was 41 years old. While not a lead, Roy was a steady presence throughout the series, appearing in more than 40 episodes. He was usually seen in the background of the mess tent, hospital wards, or assisting with general camp duties. Though his character rarely had lines, fans came to recognize him as one of the familiar faces of the 4077th, contributing to the sense of a living, breathing military unit. His consistent appearances made the show's world feel authentic and grounded. Goldman's work on MASH highlighted the value of supporting actors and building continuity across long-running series. In addition to his time on MASH, he made appearances in The Odd Couple, That Girl, and Room 222, among others. Born March 3, 1932, in New York he built a solid, though understated acting career spanning television and film. Roy Goldman passed away on September 1, 2009, at the age of 77 from natural causes. Todd Sussman portrayed the PA announcer in MASH, 1972 when he was 25 years old. His voice became one of the most recognizable elements of the series, as he delivered countless camp announcements ranging from urgent medical orders to wry tongue-in-cheek commentary on Army life. Though rarely seen on screen, Sussman's contributions added humor, realism, and atmosphere, immersing viewers in the day-to-day experience of life at the 4077th. His off-screen presence was so distinctive that fans often regard him as an unseen character who shaped the tone of the show. Beyond MASH, Sussman enjoyed a wide-ranging career across television, film, and theater. He appeared on shows such as Newhart, Law & Order, NYPD Blue, and The Good Wife, while also building an impressive resume on stage, including Broadway performances. Born January 17, 1947, in St. Louis, Missouri, he remained active in entertainment for decades. As of 2025, Todd Sussman is 78 years old, remembered by fans for his unique role as the ever-present voice of the camp. Sherry Saba portrayed Lieutenant Sherry, RN, in MASH, beginning in 1980 when she was 23 years old. She appeared during the final years of the series, a period when the tone shifted to more mature storytelling that blended humor with the harsh realities of war. Lieutenant Sherry, though a minor recurring nurse, represented the younger generation of women serving in Korea and provided continuity in the operating room and around camp life. Like many of the nurses on MASH, her character rarely had full storylines of her own, but her steady presence made the hospital feel authentic, showing how the doctors and nurses depended on teamwork. Born on August 20th, 1957 in the United States, Sherry Saba's television career was brief, and MASH remains the credit that ties her to one of television's most beloved ensembles. Fans of the show often recognize her as part of the unsung but essential group of performers who gave the 4077th its sense of realism. As of 2025, Sherry Saba is 68 years old, remembered warmly by dedicated viewers. Dennis Troy portrayed a corpsman in MASH beginning in 1972 when he was 29 years old. Though his role was uncredited much of the time, he became a familiar recurring presence across the series. As a corpsman, he often appeared assisting in the operating room, handling stretchers, or helping doctors and nurses during emergencies. His steady background presence contributed to the realism of the show, making the hospital feel like a functioning military unit with countless unsung workers. While he was not one of the series' featured stars, his recurring role is fondly remembered by fans who appreciate the continuity provided by background characters. Beyond MASH, Troy had limited visibility in television and film, focusing primarily on small roles. Born January 29, 1943 in the United States, he represents the many supporting performers who gave depth to ensemble productions. As of 2025, Dennis Troy is 82 years old, one of the lesser-known but enduring contributors to the show's authentic atmosphere. Odessa Cleveland portrayed Lieutenant Ginger Bayless, RN, in MASH beginning in 1972 when she was 28 years old. Ginger was one of the early African-American nurses at the 4077th, appearing across the first 3 seasons. She was warm, capable, and dedicated, often seen assisting surgeons in the operating room or providing comfort to wounded soldiers. While not given as much screen time as other characters, Ginger represented the essential role of nurses and brought greater diversity to the series at a time when television was only beginning to expand representation. Cleveland's performance made the character memorable despite her limited run. After MASH, she appeared in shows such as The Jeffersons, Benson, and Hill Street Blues, continuing to work in television throughout the 1970s and 1980s. Born March 3, 1944 in Winnetka, Louisiana, she carved out a modest but important acting career. As of 2025, Odessa Cleveland is 81 years old, remembered for bringing heart and professionalism to the role of lieutenant. Ginger Bayless. G.W. Bailey portrayed Sergeant Luther Rizzo, as well as briefly appearing as a GI in MASH, beginning in 1979 when he was 35 years old. Rizzo was the motor pool sergeant of the 4077th, known for his sarcastic southern wit, his corner-cutting laziness, and his surprising ability to keep the unit's vehicles running despite his lackadaisical attitude. His presence added a new comic voice to the later seasons of MASH, with Bailey's drawl and sharp timing making Rizzo stand out as a colorful supporting character. Beyond MASH, G.W. Bailey went on to star in the hugely popular Police Academy films as the blustery Captain Harris, a role that cemented him as a comedy favorite. He later transitioned into more dramatic roles, winning praise as Detective Provenza in The Closer and its spin-off Major Crimes. Born August 27, 1944 in Port Arthur, Texas, Bailey's career has spanned both stage and screen, and he has also been active in charitable causes. As of 2025, he is 81 years old and remains respected for his versatility. Johnny Hamer portrayed Sergeant Zelmo Zale in MASH, beginning in 1974 when he was 54 years old. Zale was the supply sergeant, a character often portrayed as conniving, petty, and opportunistic, but always in a humorous way that added to the camp's everyday chaos. He frequently clashed with Klinger and was often at the receiving end of wisecracks from Hawkeye and the others, embodying the small frustrations of Army bureaucracy. Hamer's performance made Zale memorable even though he was not a main character, giving him a comic edge that fans appreciated. Outside MASH, Hamer was a busy character actor with roles on shows such as Barney Miller and Madame's Place, and he was also active in voice work, most notably in the 1980s cartoon Transformers. Born January 19, 1920 in St. Louis, Missouri, he built a steady career on stage, television, and commercials. Sadly, Johnny Hamer died on November 18, 1989, in Los Angeles at the age of 69 after a battle with cancer. His work on MASH remains his most enduring legacy. Patricia Stevens portrayed several recurring nurses in MASH, most notably Lieutenant Baker and Lieutenant Stevens, beginning in 1974 when she was 29 years old. Over the course of her appearances, she became one of the most familiar faces in the nursing staff, often seen in surgical scenes, camp activities, and background moments that helped build the realism of the 4077th. While she never had a central storyline, her steady presence gave audiences a sense that the hospital was staffed with dedicated women who kept things moving under extreme pressure. Stevens was beloved by fans who recognized her as part of the core group of nurses. Born on September 16, 1945 in Linden, New Jersey, she balanced her acting career with teaching and family life, while her sister, Ann Shadeen, went on to greater fame as Kate Tanner on ALF. Tragically, Patricia Stevens died on May 26, 2010, at the age of 64 after a battle with breast cancer. Her appearances remain a reminder of the many unsung characters who gave depth to MASH. Who is your favorite character from MASH? How do you feel knowing that some cast members are no longer with us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated. We appreciate your support and are glad to have you as part of our community.